Biden-Harris administration. And we will seal the border and we will stop Kamala Harris invasion without delay. It'll happen immediately. We will do it immediately. Under border Zoe Harris, illegal aliens are pouring in by the millions and millions and millions. It's going to be 20 million, maybe more than that by the end. You ever hear of gotaways? They don't include gotaways. You know what a gotaway is? The people that get in, which is probably most of them. It's probably already over 20 million. You know, we're losing 300,000 people a year to fentanyl that comes through our border. We had it down to the lowest. You know, they go crazy when I say the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Okay, they say, why would he mention Hannibal Lecter? He must be cognitively in trouble. No, these are real stories. Hannibal Lecter from...
Yo, my connection keep going in and out, so this video might go out, so I don't know yet.
These people are coming into our country. And terrorists are coming in at the highest levels that we've ever seen. You know, in 2019, Border Patrol put out a chart. And I don't believe this chart, but I like it. I use it all the time. It said during 2019, we had 0 terrorists. It's impossible, I think. But they said it. I'll take it. Where is Brandon? Brandon, is that right? 2019, the great Brandon Judd. 2019 from Border Patrol. 2019. They had 0 terrorists coming in. Now, I think it has to be, I'm sure some got in a little bit, but not very many. But they had it down at 0, so I use that all the time. But now we have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of terrorists coming into our country, coming in from all over the world. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up, despite the fact that they like to say it's not. Come on. Well, crime statistics all over the world are plunging. And you know why they're plunging? Because other countries are taking their criminal elements and they're bringing them into the United States of America and they're dumping them in we're a dumping ground. We're a stupid country that's run by stupid people. And we're going to make this country so great again, but we have to fix it. In Venezuela, which was ridden with crime. Crime is down 72% because they're sending all of their criminals to the United States of America. Now think of it. Next year what we'll do, if they win, I never want to say, I never say, we're going to win. They cheat like hell. We got to get out. We got to, too big to rig and all that stuff. But if they ever got in, we will have another meeting. We'll do it in Venezuela because it'll be much safer than any place in the United States. Because by that time, we'll have all the criminals from all over the world in our country, because that's what's happening. You're not going to teach a criminal not to be a criminal. It's just not going to happen. Maybe a little bit, but you're not going to happen. One of the countries, the president of the country, I don't want to really mention the name, but he's a nice guy. I know every one of them. They're very smart people. They're very sharp. They're at the top of their game. Our guy was not at the top, and this one is just, she never could be. By the way, lousy student, failed her law exams. Did you know that she couldn't pass her bar? She couldn't pass her bar exams. Okay, does anyone know that? They're not going to do. They say that on NBC News. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. Kamala Harris could not pass her bar exams. But she's going to be a great president, right? No, she couldn't pass her bar exam. She couldn't pass anything. Couldn't pass everything. She couldn't pass anything. But just think of this. These countries, and if I were the head of one of the countries, I would be worse than any of them. I mean, some of them actually have half of their prison population still. I wouldn't have any. Richard wouldn't have any. You and I would, our country would be the safest country. Every criminal would be in the United States of America. I can tell Richard Childress. Every criminal would already be here. Every jail would be empty. Every mental institution.
Give me 1 second, y'all. Turn him up. Turn me the hell down.
The only thing good about them is they make our criminals nice people by comparison. These are serious criminals. These are rough killers. But under Border Czar Harris, can you believe it? Our communities are being ravaged by migrant crime. I call it migrant crime. I used to call it Biden migrant crime, but now I'll probably change it to Harris or Kamala. You know, it took him about, 4 years to pronounce her name right, and then she did an overthrow. That was a very undemocratic move, wasn't it? Earlier this year, a 15-year-old girl in Massachusetts was raped by a migrant who Biden and Harris flew into the United States against all orders. In upstate New York 2 months ago, another 15-year-old girl was attacked by an illegal alien that just walked into our country, assaulted with a metal pipe, abducted, driven to an isolated area, raped and killed. And in Texas last month, 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari was tied up, sexually assaulted, and strangled to death by 2 illegal aliens who Biden and Harris released into the United States and refused to get them out. What kind of a vice president or what kind of a border czar allows these monsters to come into our country? And this is just a small portion. These people are here now by the hundreds of thousands. And remember this, it's like anything else. They're just getting comfortable. They've just gotten here a little while ago. So you haven't seen the kind of crime that's going to be inflicted on our country. They're just getting comfortable. They're getting used to being here. They don't know about the words politically correct yet when you catch them and you do nothing, and then you catch them again and do nothing. They don't know. The only time they do something, if it happens to be Trump, because he talks about how the rigged election was a disgrace. Oh, he should get the electric chair because he said the election was rigged. But if you rape and kill somebody and strangle them and dump them in a creek, that's okay with these people because they're crazy. And we don't want these people running our country anymore. What kind of person allows innocent American girls to be raped and murdered while keeping our border wide open? Never change it. Never change it. You know, they passed for the election about 2 weeks ago. They passed something that's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. But you know that, Brandon. They said they passed some nonsense so that they could have we're having a news conference. It actually made it worse. It actually, look at me saying it did. It made it worse. It's horrible. Kamala's deadly destruction of America's borders is completely and totally disqualifying. She shouldn't even be allowed to run for president, what she's done. She's committing crimes. No person who deliberately lets these kind of savage criminals into America should ever be trusted with power again, should ever be trusted to be the president of our country. If Border Czar Harris stays in charge, every week will bring a never-ending stream of illegal alien rapists, bloodthirsty killers, and child predators to go after our sons and our daughters. That's what's going to happen. Everybody knows that. You're not going to talk these people into being wonderful citizens. If I'm elected, we will immediately deputize local police who are dying to do the job, by the way, but their power has been taken away.
He must have not seen what happened with the cop shooting the black girl. Am I tripping? Did he not say nothing about that?
For the monsters who are murdering and raping children all over the world. Many of them have come here because they're looking for them in their own countries for rape, for murder, for all sorts of things. And we will ship them back to the country from which they came. We're going to get them out of here. You know, when I first came here, I don't tell this much, but you couldn't get them back. I said, well, we're going to get them out. MS-13 in particular, the most savage, vicious gang. They killed 2 16-year-old girls walking to school. They killed them with a knife. They sliced up their body. They didn't want to use a gun because that's too quick. They didn't want to use a gun. They sliced them up. They sliced them up into pieces. They killed them. And Nancy Pelosi said they should stand trial, you know, nice fair trial. No, these are monsters. But when I first came here, I said, we're going to get these people out, MS-13, and the general came up to Sir President Obama at the time. President Obama has been trying for 4 years. President Bush has been trying. They've all been trying. The countries won't accept them. They don't want their MS-13 back. I said, really, you can't get it back? No, sir. What they do is they put major big aircraft, commercial aircraft on their runways so that when we're getting nearby, we can't land, sir. And then they clog up the roads, right, Brandon? They clog up. He knows because he was trying to send them back. They couldn't send them back. Then they clog up the roads so the buses and cars, every way, you can't get back into their countries. And they tell the people, we'll give you the death penalty if you come back in.
Hey, yo, give me a second. I'm going to get rid of my face on here.
So I said, really, they won't accept them. Yes, sir, we have to live with them. I said, we're not going to live with them. I asked, how much money do Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico, how much money do they get from us for economic development and aid? Sir, we pay them $750 million a year. Now, that's peanuts compared to all of it, but still a lot of money. We pay them $750 million a year, sir. I said, tell them that we're not paying any more. They're in default. We're not giving them the money. We're not giving them any more money, Brandon. We're not giving. You were there, right? You were there. So we notified them, you're not getting any more money. The three countries in particular, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, rough countries. And they were sending all of their criminals into our country. I said, we're sending them back, and you're not going to put any airplanes on the runway, and you're not going to clog up the roads. We're sending them back. But I said, how much money? 750. Inform them that they're not getting any more money. There's no more aid. We call it aid because we're stupid. We call it aid. You're not getting any more aid. There will be no more aid to your country. And the next morning, I got a call separately from all three presidents of these countries. They're very streetwise guy. They're very streetwise people. And they called me. And they said, sir, there must be a misunderstanding. I said, what's up? He goes, sir, you have stopped sending our aid to us. I said, that's right, because you're not letting the criminals that you sent in caravans and otherwise you sent into our country, you're not letting them go back to your country because we're sending. Well, sir, I'd like to talk about that. We would be delighted to take MS-13 back into our country. And all three countries the same exact. And we sent them back, Tom Homan and all our guys, right? And that guy right there. We sent them back at record levels like nobody's ever seen. Stand up, Brandon. Brandon Judd. Right, Brandon? We sent them back. Brandon was shocked because he was the head of the Border Patrol. And I'll tell you a little secret. He's not supposed to endorse anybody. He's really not. But he got so fed up with the incompetent people that when I ran, he said, I don't care. I'm endorsing Trump. I said, you're not supposed to do it. I said, I don't. And he never wavered, did he? He never wavered. Him and his whole group of people, they're incredible. These are incredible people. You know, it's much easier for him not to do the job. But they don't want that. They want to straighten out our country. They love the country as much as anybody in this room. They want to work. It's risky. It's dangerous. They don't want to not do their job. They want to make our borders strong and our country safe. And we're going to be doing that in 6 months. We're going to be doing that. You know, unfortunately, we have to wait till January 20th. But I can tell you that November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. We're going to take our country back from these lunatics. During her entire time as border czar, Kamala has not had a single conversation with the chief of Border Patrol or the unions or anybody. Did they ever call you? Did they ever call Brandon Judd, please? Get him on the phone. Brandon, how are we doing on the border? Now, I used to call. He goes, horrible. How are we doing on the border, Brandon? We're doing, he just goes, horrible. But I'd call you all the time, right? I'd say, how the hell are we doing, Brandon? And we were doing great. That's why the chart, right? But we were doing great. But they talked to the 4 top people on the border. Have you ever spoken to Biden? Biden doesn't know he's alive. You know, the head of the FBI was, you know that, right? He was in front of Congress today. And one of the great congressmen asked him a question. Have you ever noticed in all your meetings with Biden that he's cognitively a degenerate? And he said, no, I never noticed that. I never noticed that. No, really, there was nothing to talk about. I never noticed that. Now, anybody that says that, you know they're not telling the truth. It's a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing. No, I didn't notice. I didn't notice. No, I didn't notice. I didn't notice he couldn't stand up. I didn't notice he can't walk. And I didn't notice he can't think and he couldn't talk. Other than that, he's doing quite well, however. Thank you. No, he didn't notice. That's a very bad thing. A very bad thing. A very sick thing. We're pleased to be joined today by former president of the National Border Patrol, and that's the man I've just been talking about. He's been so incredible. The Patrol Council, the head guy and the boss, Brandon Judd. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. And Brandon, can you come up and say a couple of words? We have time. Do we have time? Come on, Brandon Judd. Come on, Brandon.
And I'll bet you he can beat me up those. I'll bet you he can beat me up those stairs. Remember when Biden challenged him to a golf match, and yet Trump was just playing with Bryson DeChambeau? You beat him, didn't you? Look, I lived this. I lived this. Under 5 presidents, I worked under 5 presidents. Never have we seen a more secure border. You know this. This isn't a secret. The most secure border we've ever had was under Donald Trump. We had fewer drug overdoses under Donald Trump. We had fewer criminal aliens under Donald Trump. Like he said in 2019, 0 known terrorists. That number has jumped up more than 100% under Joe Biden. 100%. Yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. This was amazing. It was all about policy. October 7th, 2016, the day of Access Hollywood. Come on, locker talk, seriously? And they thought that that was going to bring him down. We did a press conference with Donald Trump, October 7th, 2016, because it was about policy. That's what it's about. If we have proper policy, we can secure the border and we can keep your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren safe. He can do that. He can do it. They refuse. Kamala Harris knows what she needs to do. I was there. I gave her all of the policies that she needed, all of them, and she refused to implement them. She does not care about you. She does not care about the safety of this country. He does. This is the man for the presidency.
Thank you. Wow. That was great. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. He does some job. He does some job. Now that she's running for president, Kamala is suddenly trying to transform her personality to pretend she is tough on crime. She's so bad on crime. In fact, Kamala Harris was the original Marxist district attorney. She was the first of them. You know, you hear all about them in Philadelphia and Los Angeles. She was the first. She was worse than any of them. She supports ending cash bail nationwide. She wants no bail. If you murder somebody, just go home and relax. Murder a couple of other people. Which means releasing violent criminals immediately after arrest. She supports stripping police officers of legal protections, ending jail sentences for parole violators. And in 2020, she helped raise $35 million to bail out criminals released from jail after they shot at our police, looted stores, sexually assaulted innocent victims, and committed many other very serious crimes. She was giving them money and bailing them out. One of the dangerous criminals Kamala helped bail out of jail was Sean Michael Tillman. You know that name, a repeat offender who, with Harris's help, was set free. He then went on to murder a man on a train platform in St. Paul, Minnesota, shooting him in cold blood 6 times, lying on the ground. Shot him in the head and in the torso 6 times. Kamala Harris wants to be the president for savage criminals, illegal aliens. I will be the president for law-abiding Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. And I will stop the Democrats' party war. Remember this. The Democrats, they have a war going with police. They have a war. They don't want to talk about it, but they want it. the Democrat Party has a war on with police. We will stand up to the Marxist district attorneys. Defund the police. That's what they want, defund. They want to defund. She wants to defund the police. Now, she's pulled back on it, but that's where she is going. Does anybody even understand the concept? That's like open borders. That's like men and women's sports. The same thing. I think it's maybe even crazier than any of them. We will give our police back their power, protection, respect that they deserve. We're going to give them back the respect that they deserve. Today, I am honored to receive the official endorsement of the National Association of Police Organizations, which is the largest in our country. It represents 250,000 police officers nationwide. It's such an honor to get it. To me, that's a great honor. To me, that's something that means the largest anywhere in the United States. It's the greatest people. I'd like to ask their president, Mick McHale, to come up and say a few words, please. Thank you. Thank you, Mick. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am truly honored to stand before you today, and on behalf of the National Association of Police Organizations, I am pleased to formally announce NAPO's endorsement of Donald J. Trump for President of the United States. If I may, as President Trump directed the Attorney General to aggressively prosecute those who attack officers for simply being in a uniform. President Trump, he signed the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act. And ladies and gentlemen, that's protecting the protectors. President Trump also signed the ability for surplus military equipment to once again be used to protect you, the citizens, not to take your rights. And one of the most important things that the president did, he recognized that the men and women who provide public safety, who are part of law enforcement, deserve the same constitutional rights as the people we serve. Mr. President, once again, we are proud and pleased to support your campaign, and we are here for anything that you ever may need. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Here's the thing, aging begins